See if I can hear myself. There we go. I can hear myself. Hope you can all hear me also. Okay. There we go. Still learning how to use this shotgun mic, and then on top of this I have these in-ear monitors that I'm using now, which are a little different for me. They're okay. Let's adjust this microphone. Maybe we do it like that. I think that works. Move it over to this. So, it has been shotgun, open fire. What was the other? Is that the Futurama reference? The other one was like, I don't see howitzer. Somebody said howitzer, and he blows holes in him. Yeah, I'm using a I got it the last time I did it, and I've been using it because as much as I like the microphone I get, as much as I like the microphone I've used in the past, it's very hard to see through. And this one is just kind of this narrow, it's pointed directly at my mouth. I can kind of see around. it, a little bit better. I hope everybody's doing well. Everybody's doing well. Fighting Max, OS Full Metal, Vidi. I have been gone for the past couple of weeks, and if I'm to be honest, I'm tired. I'm very tired. It's been a very difficult and very trying. Or bingo if you check spelling before hitting. Yeah, I'm tired. And I thought, I really want to go back. I want to talk. I want to do the gallery of thought. I want to push some things out that maybe I'm thinking of in the wrong way. I want to bring some things in that maybe are better ways of thinking or more clear. I want to run some very deep questions by people, and so it's like I had a good day today, played some tennis. To me it's crazy. It is crazy. So where I am, it's like 80 degrees tomorrow. Not tomorrow, excuse me. Day after tomorrow. It's going to be like 82 degrees. Christmas Day, 82 degrees. I despise warm weather in general, but I certainly despise it around the holidays. I certainly despise it around Christmas. I'm glad you had a good day. I'm glad that you were able to play some tennis and make the best of it. I mean, I don't necessarily know that everybody else is so much, I don't know everybody else wants the cold weather like I do. So. Surprisingly warm weather for, I'm not a fan of it. I know they said it was going to be La Nina, but I'm just like, man. And so I'm hoping February will get nice and cold. I'm hoping, and that seems to be with about where we are when we're supposed to be kind of falling, maybe a little bit below average or so. So I'm hoping so. It's not natural. That boy ain't right. Yeah, the weather definitely isn't. I don't like. I mean, to me, we could make an environmentalist's position. We could take an environmentalist position on this and say global warming, right? I mean, global warming. I've listened to things about global warming for 35 years, but I prefer warm. But and again, I'm not. My preference isn't to take anybody else's preference out of consideration, right? Obviously, there are going to be some winters I'm going to enjoy, and there are going to be some winters you enjoy. The sad thing about it is the inverse doesn't exist, right? Where I am, if winter is hot and summer is very hot. Where I am, it's usually winter is nice and cold, but there are sometimes winter's warm, and summer's just blisteringly hot, just blazing hot. And I wouldn't mind winter being warm sometimes if summer were cold sometimes, but that's just not how it works. So it's been my experience the last 3 years. We get a cold snap late January, early February. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's kind of, I mean, like we had snow this year. We had snow in April, right? And then we actually have had snow one day this autumn. So winter solstice was just what, day before yesterday or two, something like that. So I don't know. I don't know what today is. I've forgotten. I know it's Christmas Eve and that's about it, but everything has blurred together. And it's been a bit, and I don't want to put anybody down. It's been just to kind of give everybody, where I've been, what I've been up to. I've been working very long hours, very diligently working, trying to. And things that have happened at work have caused just a lot more of that need. Today is Wednesday. Oh, it is. Yeah, I guess it's Wednesday. I guess I don't know the date. Yeah, at least that's true. That's true for Vidya. It's Thursday. So that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm tired. I've been working long hours. Try to be very vigilant, very diligent, and I have nothing. I want to be very clear. I have nothing against hard work at all. I think hard work is fine. I think it's good. But I caveat this by saying that hard work is good and respectable when it does something for people, and when it does nothing or it's something detrimental, then it's not really work anymore. It's more sabotage. It's more, And I think we've kind of been skewing into the sabotage side of things. There are things that are beneficial, but it's been a lot of long work and a lot of sadly overtly verbalized, unappreciated work, where people are pretty outrightly just told that their contributions are nothing. So, and I don't care. I don't need an attaboy. I don't need pats on the back. It's just that kind of environment it's become recently. In addition to that, you may have noticed, those of you who are eagle-eyed, that on the foot of my robe, just on the screen there, is a little kitty cat, a little tuxedo cat. That would be Willow. Willow was my favorite. We have 4 cats. We had 4 cats. Willow was my favorite of them. And she was a rescue from years ago, bottle fed. She liked to come up and sit on my lap. She liked to jump from high heights to stand on my shoulder. And she passed away from a random heart attack. So, to commemorate her, I have her on my cloak, resting peacefully, belly up, in front of the fire, like she would do when my lap was not available, occupied, much like the picture by a book or something. You want to talk tired? My mom had a front row seat to a tax prepper having a mental health crisis in Walmart. He was set off by a person on the phone demanding a refund check he did not have. Oh, wow. Wow. Poor guy. Well, he's a tax prepper. He's not the one that gives the refund anyway. Like, the refunds come from the government. The tax prepper's job is just to make sure that the paperwork goes to the government in the right fashion so that the amount of money that you get back or have to pay isn't a mistake. So that poor guy, I'm sorry about that. People are hyper aggro right now, and there is a major shortage in empathy. Can't have sympathy anymore. Yeah. It's I'm sorry for your loss. Oh, I know. I very much appreciate it. That's the problem. Is I don't believe empathy and sympathy. This is kind of one of the dichotomies I kind of wanted to talk about today. I hope you will indulge me. Ironic, isn't it? Season of giving, and all anyone wants to do is take. Oh yeah, and I think this is where I kind of want to. It's one of the topics, like I said, that I wanted to kind of bring up is I have this. There's this kind of Venn diagram recently where people seem to be. So I want to be very clear. You know what? Let me send a message real quick, just in case somebody may want to participate, and I want to see if that is the case. I was asked. So let me just send a message real quick. Just to pay a courtesy. He requested it and I told him I would. I'm sorry. I like to think I have an open mind. Fire away. I believe you do. And that's the thing. I voice these things because I believe that I can be wrong. Right? I believe that. And I'm happy to be wrong. Or I'm happy to have what I'm saying verified or validated or critiqued and, built differently. There seems to be this really interesting Venn diagram, I think, that we find where we have people that you have people that say that they're logical, and then you have people that say that they are empathic or empathetic, however you want to use that word, or however you want to say that word, and you don't see a lot of overlap. People that tell it like it is, quote unquote, are the quote unquote logical. And I'm putting a heavy quote on a lot of this because I don't agree that that's what it is. But it's I tell it like it is. Therefore, I'm logical. I'm telling you a fact. And effectively, I see a huge overlap with that and people who are jerks. And I like to be logical. I am more logical than I am emotional. I have emotions, but I am more logical than I am emotional. But I don't think, if I have a good command of the language I speak, I don't think that I have to be inelegant in the way that I present a truth, even if it's a harsh truth. I don't necessarily have to be inelegant in the way that I present that. On the other side of it, we have people that are empathic or empathetic, and that they are so much so that they're not willing to look at logic, or they're looking at logic as a cold thing, as a naturally it's completely emotionless. There's no sympathy in it, and that's not how that works either. And I think we've kind of seen societal shifts en masse, or en masse, I guess would be the appropriate way to say that. E-N-M-A-S-S-E, en masse. Where the entire world says, you know what? Today's the day for quote unquote logic, and emotion goes to the, by the wayside. We don't care what you think. I believe that empathy and sympathy still exist, but it's pretty rare to see now in the wild. It is, but it's also very rare to see logic and reason. It's just raw anger. It's just raw emotion. It's just raw, I feel this way, therefore I'm going to push that out there. You know, I feel negative, therefore I'm going to push out negative. And it's okay. I've said this multiple times. I think hatred and anger and all of those things are good. I think they're good tools, and I think they're appropriate to feel when the time is appropriate. I think the thing that I've argued against is getting rid of arbitrary, right? Don't be angry just for no reason. Don't use it in ways that don't have real reason, right? Things that are arbitrary, like being angry because somebody's a different religion than you or different political belief than you, or, that's arbitrary. That doesn't really matter all that much. They're going to do what they're going to do. You're going to do what you're going to do. There's no point in getting up in arms about that. But people are unreasonably angry and are unreasonably acting upon that anger. And it's just very, very bald-faced now. The two aren't mutually exclusive. I can empathize, and someone can put myself in their shoes, with somebody. Hold on. I can empathize with someone and put myself in their shoes, so to speak, without losing my grasp of the facts on the ground. Exactly. Again, Hitchhikers, was it Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And there's the point of view gun. And the whole thing is that it forces you to see it from their perspective totally. And, it doesn't defeat a purpose. It doesn't defeat an argument. I think we've done this multiple times. We disagree. We've disagreed. I think Fighting Max and I've disagreed. I know Ash and I've disagreed. I think Vidya and I've even disagreed on a few things. And it's like, there's no reason that I'm angry at them, because these are intelligent minds. It's potentially my dull steel being brought to the sharpening, the grindstone, and trying to sharpen it. It is also potentially that I get to be the grindstone sometimes. But I'm not always the grindstone sharpening other things, and I'm not always the dull metal needing sharpened. And that dynamic continues and will continue until I die. And I think everybody is kind of getting into, we get into this, we have to be right, we have to feel this particular way, we have to not sympathize with you, agree with you. It doesn't matter if there's any reason behind it. And it's just, everybody is just, I don't know. It's a very difficult world we live in. I've been recommending to people who haven't, I think he goes several steps too far, but I've been recommending, if anybody wasn't familiar with him, reading a little bit about Diogenes. Diogenes, he went a little farther than I think you should, but his whole thing was about this kind of societal turn, or this, not necessarily, I would say almost antisocial. He did some really weird things. But I'm not arguing necessarily antisocial. I am arguing anti kind of wisdom of the crowds, where you have to be comfortable just being you. And the problem with that is people generally aren't. There's an experiment that we've done for a long time now, where you have an elevator. The elevator has one door. It doesn't have doors on both sides, just one door. And that door leads you in and out. The buttons and the panels are by that door like they normally are. And you'll have a group of people in the elevator, and they will all be facing the opposite wall, the wall opposite of the door. Okay, bear in mind, that's just a wall. There's nothing else to be done there. And when one person, the unscripted person, comes into the elevator, I think it was like it was almost 90% of the time. It's like 80-something% of the time. You have people that are going to just they're going to turn around, and that's kind of society in a nutshell. If everybody else is being angry and logical, again heavy quotes, then everybody else can be the same way. I've heard of Diogenes, but all I know is he's in a Yeah, yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, I guess that's. He was so. A lot of people. When I read that, I misread that the first time. I apologize. I misread that as like that he uses, again, pot, the colloquial term for marijuana. I was like, I don't know about that. Maybe. he was a cynic. That was the thing. He was basically I guess you would call him the founder of modern cynicism. He's not really all that modern, but I guess you could call him the founder of it. But he was very much he was kind of the first anti-classist, anti-societal, what was appropriate by societal standards in a lot of cases. Again, he defecated in the street as an example of his kind of rebellion. He had this idea that wealth was kind of corrupting people, but luxury was making them softer than they needed to be. But what was wealth except for that which one needs? And there's a lot of stuff like that. So, but yeah, he was that. He was what's another? He was kind of a modern day. He was a modern day cynic, but he's not modern day. He's a cynic, and he was what would be a modern day? A minimalist. He was a minimalist. There you go. He was just very much against the grain, but I don't know what his reasoning was, a lot of it, but I think that the idea behind it was that in doing what he did, he wasn't made weak. And the phrase that I've adopted, and I'm sure it comes from somebody else, but it's the one that I've adopted, is what I call being burdened by convenience. I think we are burdened by convenience, and I think we've been made too soft by that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that convenience needs to be, that we need to eradicate all conveniences. I think Diogenes was popular. I think he was very popular in, not popular, excuse me. I think he was very famous for having gotten rid of a lot of the things that would have made him. Okay, good. I just got, I guess my computer says I got a whole bunch of notifications from Discord, I guess. Okay. But yeah, he had this big rejection of a lot of those things, and I think we kind of have a lesson there too. And like I said, it's we are burdened by convenience. Things are convenient. We have all of think about this, the Library of Alexandria. It's grandeur, just ridiculous library. And you have that times 100, if not more, on a small box that you carry inside of, small rectangle you carry inside of your pocket, likely daily. You have the convenience of being able to look anything up, and therefore, and I'm not saying you specifically, I'm saying us cumulatively, you, humanity, have the convenience of being able to look up anything. And so we have decided to discard the utility of learning it because we don't need to learn it. We can know it when we need to know it. We can look it up when we need to. Never mind that some skills actually take a long time to get down, even ones that are emergency skills that aren't just years of honing craftsmanship. Absolutely, we are. Superfluous external goods have made us too reliable on them. But that's just, that's true. But we can't say that. We can't say, but that's just how it is. I mean, you're right. That is true. But we have to make a push against that, and not necessarily as outlandishly as Diogenes did, but we have to push against that to some. And I think the globe in which we do that is firstly that of critical thinking, and we start pushing back on easy like colloquialisms, I think, that are dismissive of real life skills. What is the old saying? Yeah, easy times make weak men. Yeah, easy. What is it? Easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times, and the cycle repeats itself. That's true. That's exactly the cycle. You're exactly right. But that's where we push back, because critical thinking, right? I mean, right now it's and again, I'm not saying that there isn't validity. Obviously, everything has nuance. Everything has a soft side to it. Nothing is hard and fast with this, right? But I'll give you an example. And again, I'm not going to call any names or anything specific, but at my work, they designed a huge spreadsheet calculator. This was almost 3 years ago now. No, I guess it was 2 years ago, because it'd be 2 years November. So yeah, 2 years ago, sorry. They made this huge spreadsheet calculator to calculate 10% of something. This is a multi-billion-dollar national or multinational worldwide company. And they invested time and resource into making a huge spreadsheet plug-in calculator, and the base function, the only function, was that it calculated 10%. Now, I like math, but I don't think you have to be a math wizard to know that 10% is moving the decimal from where it is to the left once. And so I had a meeting. I was in New Mexico at a meeting in person with these head honchos, so to speak. And they said, are you using the calculator? I said, I didn't know we had it. They said, well, yeah. I said, what does it do? And it says it helps you calculate this thing, which was at that time 10%. It does shift, right? But it doesn't shift really much. It's kind of annually. And they were like, it helps you calculate our this. And I said, okay, our this is 10% though. I don't need a calculator. I don't even need a regular calculator to do that. That could be done on a regular calculator easily. I'm just going to do it. She goes, how are you doing it? And she's not here anymore, but she left on her own, but this big boss she wasn't my boss. She was my boss's boss, and her boss was there. And they were the ones drilling down. It was, why don't you use this calculator we've spent all this time and money in? And I'm like, because I can do 10% in my head. And she goes, she goes, well, 224. How do you, as 22.4? There you go, 10%. The lesson isn't that I'm good at math. That's not hard. The lesson is they were so upset that they had invested this time and this money into making this custom calculator that basically just calculated 10%. And if you didn't know that already, which I'm positive you did, but if you didn't know that already, it takes me no more than 5 to 10 seconds to teach you how to do it. And then you do it in your head, because it's really a visual trick. We were so burdened with convenience, we couldn't bother to let people do something in their head. We couldn't even bother to let them use a calculator they already have access to on the phones the company provides us. 64%, this is an actual statistic too, 64% of Americans, adults, cannot read beyond a 6th grade level. And that means that they also do not speak and cannot write beyond a 6th grade level. I'm not saying we should make fun of these people. I'm certainly not saying that. But we have to start pushing back against the little obtrusions. Is that right? Would that be the right word? I don't know if that would be the right word. Maybe. No. Well, okay. At least the little. No, I think obtrusion would be the right word. I was trying to think of a better word to qualify, but I think an obtrusion would be the right word. We have to start getting rid of the little obtrusions. Where you try to do something mathematically and somebody just laughs and says, "Ha, I'm bad at math." Okay, let me help you. And likewise, I say, oh, I'll come to it too. I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this. Can you help me? Help me get better. I'm okay with that. I have a, as a matter of fact, I have a very good friend that I work with also, longtime friend. And I kind of went over quick math, how to do quick math in the head on some of the stuff that we have to calculate. And he said, I didn't know any of those things necessarily right off the cuff. He goes, but I'm happy to learn them now. I'm like, perfect. There's no shame in that. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be saying, I didn't realize that it was that easy, or I didn't think about it. We talked about, but we're so burdened with convenience, we've curtailed our own progress. It could be mathematical progress. It could be the ability to write or read or to speak. I can't tell you how many times that my workplace has insisted that I speak differently because I have a tendency to like to use words that are a little bit longer and a little bit larger and a little bit deeper than something like the word what. I used, I think, the word ignominious, and it wasn't, well, what does that mean? It was you can't use that, really. You shouldn't use those types of words. People don't understand you. I don't understand that. I don't get why we do that. You're never supposed to stop. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. You're going to fail intermittently. Through life. That's just the nature of it. But you can be an eternal student and fail a few times, or you can be an eternal failure and perhaps learn something, if only one thing. I think that's kind of where I really get frustrated. When it goes, if you strip everything away, right? Strip away all of the humanity and just ask the question of why. I'm something of a nihilist, right? I'm something of a nihilist. It doesn't mean I don't like people. It doesn't mean I'm not happy. I'm not depressed at all. I don't experience depression. I haven't experienced depression. I'm very, very fortunate in that. And I apologize. That's not a flaunt. I apologize to anybody who does suffer from depression, because I cannot imagine how that is. But it's so, if you strip it away, if you strip all the humanity away and you strip away all the nuances, the emotions, the logics, you just strip away all of that and you get down to it. Yeah, you could call me something of a nihilist. I enjoy some of the utilities of storytelling, but I think ultimately I'm something of a nihilist. I don't necessarily know that we're intrinsically here for any reason, and I don't know that we are, there's a lot of that. That doesn't mean I believe in discourtesy, and that doesn't mean that I believe that you should just completely resign yourself unless you're completely in your right mind, and you decide that's what you're going to do. I don't think you should just resign yourself to whatever you're in. I think you should always strive to try and do things that interest you and be better at those. And I think that the basic things that you need to try to be better at are the things that are going to help you connect with other people. If you find yourself saying, I'm bad at this, and it's something that you use constantly, then I would reframe that in thinking, this is something I should be better in. Instead of, I'm bad at, instead of being dismissive of it, let's go, I should be better at. And then let's pursue that. You don't have to pursue it to calculus, just pursue, if it's math, pursue it to the level that it makes sense and you're able to use it with quick utility. But English, come on, even if you don't read, the ability to speak with people and to have deeper meanings and conversations, this has got to be something really important, right? Better to do away with it than risk the shame of having to ask someone for help. Yeah, that's really the mentality. But why is that a shameful thing? Why do we stigmatize the phrase, I don't know? I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they wanted to bring up Israel-Palestine. And I have very, very, very base opinions on it because I don't know enough about it to have deep opinions on it. I really don't. And I don't care to. I'm not, no offense to anybody who's going through that particular struggle, but I just don't. I don't have the bandwidth, let's call it. It's not that I don't have the mental fortitude. It's just I'm worrying about things that are going on right here, and you got to get that under control before I can start worrying about the rest of the world. But it's okay to say, I don't know enough to have an opinion about that. It's okay to just not have an opinion. Even if you know enough, you're just like, I just don't. I'm sorry. The analogy I usually give for that, which I don't believe to be heartless, a lot of people do, and you may disagree, but is I say, think of the children starving in Africa. You'll realize that most people, not all, but most people only think about that right when I say it. And I say, well, where's your empathy for them? What are you doing for them? And of course, that's, well, every excuse. And it's like, we don't have the bandwidth to understand and care and be compassionate about the whole world. We just don't have that. We have budgets. We have mental budgets. We have fiscal budgets. We have physical budgets. Fiscal and physical. I didn't say those words very well. And I said them back to back, which was a poor choice on my part. And we have emotional budgets. Some people's are larger than mine, certainly. Some people's are not. Or some, yeah. But it's okay to recognize a limitation and go, I just don't have it. I'm sorry. And I do that all the time. And that's not me saying I'm a good person. That's me admitting how flawed and how incomplete a person I am. But I'm okay with that. I get it. I'll admit I have a history of struggling to ask people for help when I need it, and I'm still that way today. But I do know that it can be really important to do so, especially in school. Well, so let me go off of the beaten path here for just a second and talk about two scenarios where I've also seen that happen and the caveats to those, because it's frustrating. It is frustrating to me when people won't do it, but at the same time, if you came to me and you said, I don't know what that word means, right? And I laugh and I'm like, really? You don't know what that word means? Obviously, I'm fortifying your fear of coming to me. And that's in part my responsibility and my fault. Because I should make sure that if you're trying to learn something, I should make sure. I might get frustrated. If you work a job and there's a bare minimum requirement and you're struggling to be able to write, and that is one of the bare minimum requirements, I could be a little frustrated, certainly. That's reasonable. But if I use a word and you just haven't heard it, even if it's not a big word to me, I need to make sure that I'm available in a way that says, you know what, he's trying to learn, let me give him that. And I hope you would extend that courtesy to me in reciprocity. And so I think that there is a societal push on that, and I can't put a full blame on people who don't ask for that societal pressure. But I encourage anybody to screw societal pressure. Just ask. If that person makes you feel 2 feet tall for doing it, that person is a jerk, and forget them. I had somebody, speaking of the work-related circumstance, they had a meeting with a guy. They didn't know off the cuff how to do the math formula for the particular thing that they were asking about. And that was the whole meeting, basically, was a beat down on not knowing. Everything that person had done that was good, which was literally the rest of that meeting, everything was completely shoved under the table because he didn't know at the very onset, he couldn't recite the formula. And he came back and he called me and he says, I'm such a failure. And I'm like, you're not a failure. You were under pressure. You couldn't recall a formula off the cuff. But when you talk to somebody and you didn't know that one thing off the cuff, you've been doing it and you just forgot the formula right there under a pressure, meeting that's filled with pressure, you're not a failure. The fact that they made you feel like a failure means they're a failure. The other circumstance is the desire to do it yourself. I really want to do this myself, but that doesn't do me any good in certain arenas, right? I really want to learn what the word is myself. I could go ahead and Google it, I suppose. But I'm sitting right here, and if I actually just ask, that firstly offers an appropriate vulnerability to somebody. It might lend me a deeper conversation with them. It might offer me insight on the person that they are in the way that they teach me or give me that. I mean, there's a lot more insight that I get from them than I would get going to Google, because from Google, I just get the definition of the word. I don't do anything else. There's no benefit. I'm in a weird place right now. After a mental health crisis in 2020, I've kind of closed myself off from society at large. I don't go out much. I have no trust in police and hospital staff. I'm trying to figure out how to contribute to a society that I despise. That brings up a really interesting point. That kind of brings up a really... let me read Fighting Max's comment, and then I'll get to that, because that brings up a really interesting point. It's a necessary evil nowadays. You may not want to support it, but you do want to support yourself. Oh yeah, that's great. We have to think about what society says is an appropriate contribution versus what is appropriate contribution. And this is why I bring up Diogenes. Again, Diogenes might have actually been just completely out of his mind. He was brilliant, but at the same time, he also may have been completely out of his mind. This man lives in this pot-like thing, and he defecates in the streets, and he sees, he's got a bowl, but then he sees a kid drinking water from his hand, so he even gets rid of the bowl. He's like, I don't need this. I got hands. He's doing all this weird anti-societal stuff. I'm going to adapt his commentary, because I don't necessarily, obviously the beliefs of ancient Greece, very, very different from what we are now. And again, he could have just been slipping into madness as easily as he could have been slipping into genius. A lot of people do say that's a razor's edge. I wouldn't know. I don't think I'm either. I don't believe I'm a genius. I don't believe I'm a genius any more than I believe I'm mad. But I could be a little of one or the other. I doubt it. highly. But if it is one, I'm probably more mad than I am genius, certainly. The question I have, I guess, is let's bifurcate it for a minute here and say, question number one is, when you're talking about contribution to society, are you talking about contributing to society what they tell you you need to contribute to society? Or are you talking about contributing to society what society needs contributed to them? Number one. And number two is, if your answer to the prior question is the latter, is it appropriate that you can contribute to them in a way that, for lack of a better term and to be a bit uncouth, pisses society off? But you're not doing it necessarily vindictive, out of malice. You're not doing it vindictively. You are doing it with intent, and it just happens to piss people off. Because that's my thing. I also don't like society. That doesn't mean I hate humanity. I just don't care about the whole thing en masse. I don't have enough emotional bandwidth to do it, because if I were super emotionally open to the world, I would hear, 10 or 12 stories that were worse than my own. And mine was a tough story, but I know people out there have it way worse. I'd hear 10 or 12 stories that are way worse than my own, and I would completely be broken. I couldn't function, because I've had a hard run, but there are people out there that have absolutely just slogged through life. And I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't think anybody has the bandwidth. Therapists, I think, are people that have an exceptionally high tolerance, but even them, I think a lot of them are either I think the really good ones know when their limits are, and I think the really bad ones have gotten into the position because they know the profession from a book studies perspective, and they don't really pay attention. But I think, for me, one of my contributions is to continue to encourage people critical thinking beyond the comfort of things that society tells you are good. So I'll give you a couple of examples. The people that keep telling me I need to worry about the way I'm talking are generally people that have higher position than I do. And that, to them, that position affords them the ability to say pretty well whatever they want to say. But the problem with it is, I'm not impressed by titles. Your title is not made important. It does not make you important. Your title is made important because of what you do in it. And so I have zero qualms about telling somebody who says you need to speak different. No. If you don't know what that word means, you are welcome to ask me, and I will happily explain it with no stigma. But if you're going to be a leader, you have to lead by example and offering critical thinking and vulnerability where it is appropriate. Just working in general, it feels like an endless grind with no real reward. We're living to work, but work isn't letting us live, and I hate. That's true. That's very true. I completely, I've been working and I'm not trying to compare against you. I'm not saying mine's worse or anything, but just to give you a frame of I've been working from, depending on the day, 5 to 7 in the morning until 1 a.m. the next morning. And that's been pretty consistently for these past 6 weeks, maybe 2 months almost. I guess it was 7 weeks. So yeah, almost 2 months. And I agree. This is a company that says, oh, we want work-life balance. But then every time you try to take the life balance, they're like, yeah, well, we're not real cool with you doing that. And there gets to be a point where I say, well, I really don't care. You fire me, I'll just get another job. Jobs aren't super easy. You can't just pick them off. But when when you know you're good at least at something that is that people, when you know you're good at a base skill, you've demonstrated competence to help you kind of fortify that belief. It's not something I just believe, oh, I'm so good at this. I've numbers that have demonstrated that I'm good at this I'm not the best in the world, but I'm pretty good, Then I say, okay, I'm confident that this will get me into a position that from there, I will learn their specific ways of doing it and then adapt my general approach to the specifics that they need. I'm okay with that. Self-preservation doesn't feel like enough. It's not enough to live. You need something to live for. You can. That kind of goes back to, and I said I was a nihilist, right? I think that we do put meaning on things, and I think we do it arbitrarily. And this is one of the things where arbitrary, if it's harmless, is fine, I guess. For me personally, I get it if other people are not comfortable with this, but I don't need to live for anything. It's an experience I have through circumstance, and I'm happy that I have it. I don't necessarily think that I fulfill any greater purpose. I don't necessarily know that I fulfill any greater role, but I see that there are things that perhaps I could contribute to. Maybe I can be the guy that likes to read and think deeply and talk about it. And maybe, I'm not Diogenes by any stretch. I'm nowhere near that mad nor that brilliant, but maybe I can be someone who says, you know what, here's where Machiavelli was right. I've done that multiple times. I think Machiavelli's misunderstood a lot of times. A lot of people just automatically assume that he's talking manipulation. But you don't get that same stigma when you talk about Dale Carnegie. And Dale Carnegie's book is arguably the exact same thing with a more modern twist. I guess more modern. It's 1960s, I think. But it's like, people aren't reading these things and looking and saying, people have already thought. There are people out there way sharper than we who have already written and thought about these things very deeply. All we have to do is adapt these thinkings, these thoughts, these meditations into whether or not they make sense today, and if so, how? How do we apply it? But people can't even read today. They can't read. Again, when I say 64%, that's the number. And to give a frame of reference, again, we talk about Lexile strength. That means that most of those people don't understand any deeper message in Frankenstein. Frankenstein is, I think, a 1600 on the Lexile score system. That's way above, right? So it's like people aren't understanding deep meanings about, like, the fruit of human labors being ultimate evils, but ultimate evils disguising themselves, despite their outward creature-like appearance, as these sophisticated, these vindictive, just because they have thought, they develop into something that's articulate and meditative, doesn't necessarily justify all of the terrible and vindictive and malicious things that are being done by the creature. And this was written by a 19-year-old. This was a 19-year-old wrote this, and we have people today that are sitting there going, I can't even read the book. They're 40. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. So my contribution, my major contribution to those people is pick up a book, read anything. I don't care what it is. Read something that's going to be fun for you, but read. Put your phone away for a minute. I'm sitting in front of a computer, but I'm talking into a microphone. I'm thinking. I'm not. We're having a dialogue in whatever proxy it seems like it is. It may be. We're having a dialogue. Do that, even if you're doing it through the proxy of technology. That's where you have to create something for yourself. Society won't give you a reason. There can always be others, no matter how small. Sure. That's good advice. That's very good advice. Right now, making sure my mother is taken care of in her twilight years is my top priority. After that, I don't really have any kind of plan. I'm sure I'll come up with something. It's Nietzsche's perspective. The opposite of being nihilist is being a creationist. The value made in the world is created from you, giving purpose to life, despite how fruitlessly happy it sounds. Yeah. It's a very noble cause. I hope that she lives the rest of her life well, and I'm sure she will with your assistance. It is. That is a very noble cause. And again, think about that. But let's think about that. Let's just strip it down just a minute, just a little bit. That's still a purpose that you have decided upon. That's not something that was whatever responsibility or compulsion you have to do that is not it's not an external draw. You determined that based upon things that were in your life, history, circumstance. And which I think, again, I agree, that's a perfect adjective. It's noble. It's a very noble cause. It's noble specifically because you've decided to offer sacrifice for that outcome, for this positive outcome. It wasn't dictated to you. It wasn't always your intent. It wasn't always your purpose. And in the same way that you have derived something, some purpose, some reason, which has, again, noble connotation, I think the same thing will come to you in deep thought as time passes on. Because, again, it's not this external draw. It's literally just, it's an amalgam of things that have occurred to you, that have happened to you, that have resonated with you, that you've determined are actionable in a purposeful direction. And, but I agree wholeheartedly with Fighting Max. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's incredibly noble. And obviously the both of you have my well wishes. As much so as I can offer through, again, the proxy of this microphone and screen. We've talked about that too with Parasocial, but I'm very fortunate. I'm not a big creator. I don't have hundreds of fans and this, and I don't. I have a very few people who I get to talk with, and because of that, I do actually get to know you all a little bit more and more deeply, and I hope that those conversations have a resonated depth to them. I hope that it doesn't come across as a random, oh well, I'm just a random streamer and you think we're best friends, but I've got 300,000 people in my chat. It's nothing like that. I truly do like the fact that we are such a small community. Your purpose may change several times, but as long as you can have ones that you want to pursue, I think that'll be enough. Yeah, exactly. Thank you both. Of course. Again, it truly is. That is truly a remarkably noble cause. But the reason I say what I say, the reason I'm saying what I'm saying on that is, it is something that didn't come from, you're not obligated to do it. The very thing that makes it a noble cause is the very thing that makes it non-exclusive. There will be other things that you will view as purposeful, and it could be something random. You could have, a huge family at some point in time. You could latch onto that. You could desire the pursuit of knowledge, a specific knowledge that's important to you, and that could be what drives you. You could make a great and deep friend, and they are what drive you. Or it could just be something that you personally feel like you want to see through before life's end. And I think that's what's so important about it, is it's okay. It's okay to be, I'm not arguing that you should be a nihilist if you're a, creationist. We're talking about Nietzsche's perspective there, which is great. I don't think that... let me take a look at something. Speaking of family, my wife just had sent me something. What was I saying? I'm sorry. She sent me a thing on her. She's doing her stream and she was having fun. I don't know what. I cannot figure it out. But for whatever reason, her streams will just tank connectivity wise. They'll just drop like crazy. And I don't understand why they'll do that. And she's not. Bandwidth. We have the bandwidth. She's not taxing it ridiculously, and for whatever reason, it will just drop down. And I did a whole bunch of updates, and anyway. But yeah, that's what as far as the Nietzsche thing. I'm not encouraging anybody. If you're a creationist, if you're a deist, if you're I'm not encouraging you to become a nihilist. I'm just stating that it is possible, not appropriate. It is possible to find purpose even if it's not externally dictated to you. It's something that is difficult to do, obviously. And I think that's a lot of the reason that some people kind of skew towards religion, is it's easier to say, I have a divine purpose. And I think self-preservation plays into that too. I think people will say, I exist and I want to exist. And because there is no reason that I can think of that I exist, there must be someone. I had a conversation. I was traveling last week and some guy, he and I had a conversation while I'm doing my meeting. He had seen I wear a Witcher's medallion, right? I've worn a Witcher's medallion for a long time, and he saw that, and he wears a cross, and so he had confused and thought it was a religious thing. I was like, no, it means something to me. The books mean something to me, and it's an oversimplification. I love the books, but I'm kind of the guy that is anathema that cleans up the messes nobody wants cleaned up. Everybody wants cleaned up. Nobody wants the person who cleaned up after that. It's no conversation. Oversimplification. And he was, very offended almost. But you are a Christian, right? Yeah. I mean, I take fundamental issue with a lot of the stuff that's in there. There's a lot of great teaching. There's also a lot of things that I take very fundamental issue with, and I'd have to work in order to give 110% pledge. I'd have to reconcile them. And so we had this big conversation. That was one of the big things about it. It's just like, don't you believe that it's amazing you live? And I'm like, well, I guess, yeah, but if I didn't, I also wouldn't know. Don't you believe love is a divine thing? Don't you believe love is something beyond human, understanding? No, I believe it's a chemical and electrical reaction. That's what I believe, But love is such a divine thing. Love is also the greatest evil. A lot of people kill over it. Yeah, but that's not love. Well, you can't say that. Because if you told me what love was objectively, then I could give you 5 examples off the cuff where I disagree with you. And I would be equally right. And I was quite a bit older than him too, so it would have been difficult. I'm like, it's, anyway, point being, I digress. Purpose is external, I think. Speaking of books, I went last weekend to an anime convention, and I somehow found an animated book about an introduction to philosophy. And I've read it and found it really interesting. Oh, I'd love it. I'd love really very much if you would be so kind as to, if you are comfortable, but if you'd be so kind as to share that in the Discord. I'd like to take a look at that very much so. Previously, the only part of philosophy I've studied in any detail is ethics, and it was cool to see different branches of the mind, free will, and the existence of God. Yeah, we did have a very big conversation. That gentleman and I did have a very big conversation on free will, because I believe free will is a dubious proposition at best. But I believe it's an impossibility if you're specifically Christian. I believe it's difficult to substantiate an argument for free will, that we do have free will if in the best of circumstances. I think we're the kind of we're the thing after the equal sign for whatever equation came before. And that'll eventually will be the numbers before the equal sign for the next person as well. So they'll be dictated in part by us. But then, if you have a God that's omniscient and omnipotent, even if not omnibenevolent. And they know they're all powerful. They can either create you or they don't, and they can do whatever they need to. And they make a decision. They know, for example, let's say hypothetically that you're going to hell. Then the minute they create you, that path is set forward. You don't have free will. You have the illusion. You can make the choice. That God who knows everything already knew what you were going to choose. There's no throwing them off. There's no... Oh, yay. Thank you. Thank you, Fighting Max. I'm going to take a look at that real quick. Said apologies for the bad... Oh, don't worry about that. The cartoon introduction to philosophy. How cool is that? I love the little guy on the boat. That's really adorable. I need to see if I can find a copy of that just for the fun of it. That's so adorable. It's just one of those interesting, I don't know, it's one of those interesting things to me that the argument of free will, I don't think it's really relevant to all it, personally. But, if I live in the world where the God is all-knowing and all-powerful, then the minute I was created, my path was set. Unless you believe you can throw that God off, which you can't, according to them. So if you can't, then your path was set. I was surprised to see things I recognized, such as a reference to Plato's allegory of the cave and Kant's perspective of duty. Oh, yeah. Kant was such a brilliant mind. I think he's a terrible writer, or he was a terrible writer, but I think he's a brilliant mind. All that we are. God, my typing needs work. No, you're fine. Dinner, BRB, no problem. Send it in the Discord. Yeah, that looks, I think the little guy in the boat's adorable too. I like that. I'll have to see if I can pick up a copy. There's some really good books. One of the good things about online is there are some really great bookstores. I picked up Citizen Cyborg, I think, for like, it was a recommendation from a guy from a friend of mine. It's like $3. I'm like, man, it is in pristine condition. I'm like, oh. Let's see. There we go. Sorry, jumping back and forth between conversations. My wife asking a question, so. Yeah, I mean, I think free will is a dubious proposition at best, and it's not. I'm not saying that I'm the definitive authority on that. Certainly, I'm not. But it's very difficult for me to sit there and say anything that we do is completely 100% our own. I mean, even our existence wasn't willed by us. Our continuing to exist isn't really willed by us. We're kind of on autopilot. I mean, it's harder to consciously starve yourself than it is to overindulge. It's harder to consciously die of thirst than it is to drink too much, to waterlog yourself. It's, so a lot of the survival instinct, so to speak, of us is gone. We're kind of on autopilot. Like, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. Very few people are like, I'm hungry, I'm going to just sit here and wait. So it's a lot of the things that we do we are compelled to do by nature. Otherwise, could I skip a meal? Sure. Am I, if I continue to skip meals, will that, does that have a chain reaction? Could very well. Could end up in an eating disorder. Could end up in death. Could end up in. But then there's a why, and that why is probably informed by external factors. That why is probably informed by, if I'm trying to take the examples of a very small snippet of Mahatma Gandhi, and, say, oh, I'm a hunger strike because of this particular, so there are all of these external factors that play a factor, I think. Let's see. You sent something else just there. Let's see what that is. In direct contrast, I also bought this at the same convention. 12 players. Let's see what this is. That is... That's funny. Absolute idiot. I'm assuming Absolute is spelled that way because it's also vodka promo? I don't know. I'm not very good at understanding the social implications of some things, but I was assuming that she's probably drinking vodka. Unless that's a play into the... I don't know. I like it. I think it's fun. Regardless of whether or not I truly understand it. That's cool. In fact, it's the shirt I'm wearing right now. Oh, very nice. Did you just take that picture, I guess, right when you got back from the convention then? That's funny. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's been very, very tiresome. It's been very I agree. I think we're kind of coming to the consensus. I think that we are coming to a consensus, not the consensus. That makes it seem as if what we're saying is right. Is that society is just not in a good place. Maybe we need more people. You know what, Fighting Max, we need more people like you. We need more people like you. We need more people who are interested in their they have a good family that support them, and they have a good interest in being good at what they do, academia or work or whatever it might be. They're interested in doing the things that they enjoy, but they're also intelligent. But again, at the same time, that doesn't temper their ability to just have fun. Somebody who can literally give a reference to Nietzsche, to Plato, and to Kant, whilst wearing an anime shirt of a lady, I believe, drinking vodka that says "absolute idiot." I think that's a really good contrast. That's a really good contrast. It's not something that I don't exist that way, certainly, and I think there are things I could take away from that that would be beneficial also. Perhaps that I should take away from that. But I don't know. I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I was listening to a lecture the other day. I can't remember who was being referenced. I'm trying to think. It wasn't Machiavelli. It was Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer was being referenced, and it was the thing where it was a lecture to encourage you to. It was a lecture to encourage you to give more. To perform, how do I want to say this? It was to perform only to the level that people could comprehend, and don't go above and beyond. And I'm sitting there going, I kind of think this is the opposite of what we need. I think that we need people that push the envelope. I think we need people that are... I think we need people that I don't know. I think we need people that are happy to be a little bit more in depth. And, again, when somebody says it isn't that deep, to say, well, maybe you're being a little too shallow. Maybe you're thinking about it a little too shallowly. while at the same time analyzing whether or not we may be overcomplicating something. Looking and going, well, you know what? Maybe I am being a little. I can look at myself and go, maybe this is a simpler problem, or maybe they just are okay with this being half done for now. But unfortunately, not everyone is as fortunate to have a good family, and I wonder how much that we can set people back how much that can set people back at the very start of their life. I don't know. I don't have. We had I won't go into detail. But I had a very, very rough. I had a very, very rough childhood. I've got a great brother, great friend, brilliant. I mean, great. My brother is a great friend to me. Brilliant mind. I loved getting to talk with him. We don't get to talk as often anymore, but mostly because of how busy I've been. But just absolutely brilliant. Just sharp as a tack. And my sister, I did get to speak with her today, and we don't usually get to speak either, but I got to speak with her today, this morning in fact. And she, again, another just absolutely brilliant mind. Absolutely brilliant, just a deep reader, but just she's just, again, and that was great. But we didn't have a lot of stability with the way that the parents and living circumstances were, most specifically with our fathers. And I say fathers, both our father and our stepfather. We're in different ways problematic and to different people, to different ones of us. And it was very chaotic. It was incredibly tumultuous until it was about 11 or 12, I guess. And then it became less tumultuous for me and more tumultuous for one of the other of my siblings. And they were that level of tumultuousness was until they were almost grown, or if not grown, out. And so it's like, and yet she does, and he does, my brother and my sister, famously, they do very well. They're very intelligent. They're very, part of it, I guess some people can look at it as a defeatist and say, oh, well, I didn't have a good start, therefore life's always going to amount to this. And I think some people look at it and say, this is the exact reason I have to get a start on being better. These people that and that's kind of, again, going to that free will argument where it's not really kind of a thing. You have a predisposition in one direction or the other, but it's like, you look at that kind of, those hardships, and you say, okay, wait a minute, I don't want that. And then you fight to be better. I want to have conversations with people and not be complete moron. All right, so what am I going to do? Well, when somebody calls me out for something, I'm going to go, oh, well, wait a minute. Let me either fortify that position with logic, or let me go, oh, you know what? Maybe I need to think on that a little bit more deeply. Or when somebody, it expresses their anger through physical violence, you look at it and go, I'm never going to do that. If I have kids, and we all have kids, myself, my brother, and my sister, we all have kids. I have a niece, and I have nieces, and I have a nephew. Again, we all have kids. I have a daughter, right? I can very confidently and comfortably say they have not one of them experienced the things that we experienced. There wasn't any physical violence. There wasn't any outright neglect, or neglect at all. Going back to the quote of easy times make weak men and hard times make strong men. Maybe some of the best people could be created from bad families. It might be rare, but exactly. Again, it's easy time make weak men weak. Easy men make weak. Easy men. Sorry, that's a different thing. Easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Right? You have people that work really hard to get things to where they're manageable, then it being manageable becomes the norm, and then people get weak and complacent, and then those people end up letting it get into a state of disarray, and then the people have to knuckle down again, and then, ad infinitum. It might inadvertently create our best circumstances for their future because the children needed to fight for what they have. Exactly. Well, and you also do kind of see, like, there has to be a balanced straddle there where it's kind of you don't want to automatically give entitlement. You don't want to automatically entitle somebody to something. You can realize that what you have, part of that is realizing that we deserve nothing, right? To quote Volkorian, our privilege is the dirt, right? It is nothing, right? It is what I can scrape together. It is what I can see or get from there. And there isn't really a deeper meaning or conversation than to be had than I was made very aware of that more quickly than other people might be, right? You might have people today that are philosophizing about whether or not we are owed anything. I was shown at a very young age that I am owed nothing, that I am entitled to nothing. And when you see that early on, you have people that go, okay, therefore everything I get is what I must make. And you get other people on the other side that say, okay, I'm entitled to nothing and am worth nothing. And I'm sure that there are multiple shades of gray in the in-between of those, but those two specifically, and then those go out and that perpetuates in random ways, So I think that both of those are valid points. I think that I hope that in my particular case, I might err on the rare, best people created from bad families, but I don't know. I don't know that I'm a good person. I wouldn't say I'm a good person. I would say that I don't allow the same bads to happen to my daughter that had happened to us. But I also, again, I don't lay claim to being a good person. I just also don't lean into the bad. Like, I recognize that I am, this is not an original sin argument, right? This is not that. I'm stating I don't know that good is a status quo. I don't know that it's a baseline. I don't know how to define that, so I can't say that I've achieved something that I think is a moving target that I, in a lot of cases, are not even trying to shoot at. I just want to do certain things in a direction. And that direction, if it should err to the side of good, wonderful, and if it should err to the side of bad, then let that bad not fall upon the people dependent on me. No, try to minimize the amount of bad that falls on other people also. So, but again, I don't lay claim to being good because, again, it's a moving target, and it's a moving target that I'm not even trying to hit. Especially if it's a societally dictated one, right? Because, again, if society dictates what good is, and good is what we are seeing done right now, then I want no part of it. I want no part of it. And we talked about it before. We talked about the alignment charts on D&D, and I said lawful evil. That's from a societal standpoint. That's saying if good is what if good is what is being dictated to us from society, then I don't. If good is what's being dictated to us from society, or from a societal standpoint, or from a quote-unquote wisdom of the crowd's perspective, and it's what we kind of have talked about today, I want no part of it. I don't want to take part of it. I don't want anything to do with it. I want, in many cases, the exact opposite of what it's reaping. I want people to go out and read, even if it's uncomfortable. I want people to ask other people. If you're saying, I can do it, I'm strong, and you keep trying, that fine. But if I want people to walk up if you say, hey, I don't understand that word, or I didn't understand that concept. I want people to say, it's okay to say I don't know. It's okay to say and go through everything, and have that conversation. But my mother went through a similar experience. She's been abused as a child, and that's what she also wants to give me a better life than she had as a child. And I think she's doing a damn good job. That's great. That's so good. And I love that. I love hearing that. Kudos to your mother. Kudos to your family. I like to talk about my family a lot because of that reason. They're one of the best things that's ever happened to me. That's fantastic. That's why I encourage. That's why I encourage. I mean, that's firstly, if you are the fruit of their labors, and now the fruit of your own, because you're fully grown and you've been making choices for some time, you've done, from what I can see, a fantastic job. Also, I mean, the conversations have depth. There's nuance. There's a willingness to disagree, but not to be up in arms when something doesn't. I mean, I think that I guarantee, I'm sure that you've been told this, but I guarantee that they are remarkably proud of you. I guarantee that. I guarantee that they are remarkably proud of you. And if there's anything that I can encourage them to do, it is to remain remarkably proud of your successes as you continue to accrue them. And if there's anything that I can recommend to you, it is understand that you will learn much and you will become more knowledgeable and wiser with age. But they will always have wisdoms that will exceed what you've accomplished until they are no longer. Even such as is the nature of people in my family, the small few that I have, get to speak with, as much as I've learned, they always have wisdom that the ones I get to talk to, they always have a wisdom that I don't have in a particular something instance, right? And always be open to listening to that wisdom and that advice and taking that. Always do that. Especially if your parents have been so good to you in this way. Always lend an ear to their advice. Always. It makes me think of if I want children or not, because I'd want to give them a similar life to what I have, past experience to them. And I think that, I mean, obviously, of course, whether or not you want children is up to you, but I also think I would obviously you're not saying this, so I'm just giving this as a preliminary, but I'd say when that time comes, if you decide you do or you don't, when that time does come, don't be in a hurry to find it, obviously, but when that time does come, I've zero doubt you'll do famously. Because you'll have such a wonderful support system in your parents. You yourself have become a well-rounded young man and will continue to grow in that vein. And your children will have a fantastic role model and will have fantastic role models of their role model also in their grandparents and in your parents. So obviously, again, that's not a choice. You're young. You're a young adult. You've got a lot of things going. No hurries, right? No hurries, no worries. You find the right person, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of moving parts, right? Finding the right partner, finding the right, somebody that'll stick with you, and navigating what that looks like when you finally acclimate to getting to be with this person for as long as you get to. There are a lot of moving pieces and parts, right? There are a lot of things. It's very difficult it's very easy to talk about. It's very difficult to live through, right? I'm married. I've been married a long time. Not every day is perfect. I absolutely adore my wife. I love my wife to pieces, right? She is such a sweetheart. And you guys have had the opportunity to talk to her also. I think she's the sweetest person in the world, but not every day is perfect. Not every day is so fun. Some days she's really, really sad, and that's hard. It's hard to see somebody you really care about be super, super sad. And the same thing with our daughter. There are days where she's just, just not the right time, not the right day, not the right topic. We had one of those instances fairly recently. It was a big argument, and of course I'm not mad at her, and I see where she's coming from. It isn't a logical place. It's a very emotional place, but it's an emotional place of just absolute compassion. And I adore our daughter for that. But it wasn't logically the right move. And it's very difficult to kind of teach that lesson, right? Because these types of obstacles just kind of come randomly. I didn't think it was a conversation I'd ever have to have. It just didn't strike me. So knowing that there are all of these kind of random hiccups that are going to come up, and that you invite new random hiccups with just my advice, if it means anything at all, and it shouldn't mean anything at all. If it comes from your parents, if they happen to echo the same sentiment, then it might have some weight, it might hold some water. But just, if you don't mind my offering unsolicited advice, please discard it at your leisure. Take your time. You've got plenty of time. You're a sharp mind, and you're going to a college. Continue to sharpen your mind. Continue to do that college. Determine what you want to do. Now you're doing your basics. Determine what you want to do determine the specifics that you want to accomplish with that. Get those specific, get your degree. You find somebody along the way. Start figuring out how life looks like with them as a constant, and then eventually that'll build up into an always, and then there's all kinds of, and then maybe that decision will come. Maybe that comes in 10 years. Maybe it comes in 5. Maybe it comes in 20. Who knows? You got to think about it. In 20 years, you'll still be young. Well, I guess technically. Yeah. I mean, it depends on how technical you want to get with that, but I'd say relatively young. But anyway, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's what I also think is fantastic. Let's just completely point out all of the cool things that you do. The fact that you just said you're questioning that now. You're not saying you're in a hurry to do it. I know I gave this advice. You're not saying you're in a hurry. I get it. But the fact that you right now are pondering that, you're not acting upon it. You're just thinking. You're planning. You're questioning, you're philosophizing, you're wondering. That's good. That's awesome. So, but you'll do famously. You stay this course, you'll do famously. You've got a great support system. You've got great advisors. You've got great, There's a part of me that looks at this and says, I mean, obviously we grew up in different times. We grew up in different times. We grew up in different circumstances. And there's that part of me that says, I wish I had that. But then at the same time, the other part of me says, you know what? I wouldn't be me if I didn't. If I did, there's also a part of us that, I don't know, maybe it's this part of my brain that is somewhat self-flagellating and says, you know what, if I didn't suffer as much as I have, I wouldn't be who I am, and I like who I am okay. So there's a little part of my brain, I guess, that's, I wouldn't say masochistic, but because I think the connotations of that are inappropriate, but maybe self-flagellating, that says my suffering is why I am. It goes kind of going back to Nietzsche. I mean, Nietzsche had a lot of that. I think in the in the genealogy of morals, I think he wrote about something similar to that. So it's like, all right. But I hope you all will forgive me. I think I'm going to call the end of this this gallery of thought. I really, really have enjoyed getting to kind of speak and decompress and getting to talk with you guys. It's been really nice. I needed to voice things out loud, and if nobody had showed up, I said, you know what, I'll speak this out there and have it at least for posterity so I can go back and reanalyze it. But I need to decompress. I need to unwind. I need to figure out where I'm messing up. And I was honored with the presence of great minds, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words. They really mean a lot to me. These conversations that you have with us are truly amazing. It gives us a nice space to think about things I don't typically do. I'm really honored that I'm really honored that this. Hold on one second. Okay, as I say, I think this song has been repeated. There seems like there's a lot of background Japanese going on, and I'm just trying to figure out what the heck with this music. It's good music, but I'm just trying to figure out what the heck. That's the idea. Sometimes I just need to talk. I just need to figure this out. And it could just be, I talk to myself all the time, out loud. And where am I messing up? Where am I not looking at this? When I get to do it online, I'm honored with the presence of other great minds. And it's a good select few people. It's very, tight-knit group of people. And it allows me the fortune of getting to know those people. I don't, again, we talked about parasocial and this, and I get it, right? But again, I don't have hundreds I have people that like to come and watch things, after the fact maybe, or fall asleep to some of this, and that's fine. But I get to talk with, consistently, I only get to talk with about 5 or 6 people. You are one of them, Fighting Max, obviously. We've got Ash, we've got Viddy, Thumb on occasion. We've got, But then for a lot of them, it's just kind of whenever they can come in, it's whatever game. If I'm playing Outer Wilds, then we might see, we might see some of the people that are more interested in that. If I'm playing a Hat in Time, But when it comes to this, it's like, because of this, I get to really know. I get to really to get to learn about the people I'm speaking with, learn about you, and speak candidly. And of course, we have to be careful. We all have to be careful. This is recorded for streaming purposes and posterities and all this other posterity, singular. It's so I can't obviously go and give a ton of information that would be inappropriate, because somebody could easily go look that up and go, oh, this is so I got to be careful about that. But when it comes to just getting to have these conversations and compliments and talk about deeper things, it's such a phenomenal forum that we found ourselves in. And it's phenomenal because of you and people like you that get to come in and we get to talk. Of course, there is a parasocialism involved in this kind of relationship we have, but it feels good. Oh, sure. And I can't. I wish I could just strip it all away, but we've not met in person. And on top of that, there's a difference also where it'd be difficult. That type of to be a friend from, to be a friend with somebody from that and far away and age and all this other stuff. But it's like, on the form of the internet, where everybody's kind of in their areas and safe, having a conversation that is deep thinking, appropriate, in an appropriately public forum, you can kind of, there's some, I don't know. There is, you're right. But I like to believe that we have the ability to be the most genuine that an internet-style conversation can be. I don't know how to word that any more cleanly. That's the best I can do. I'm tired and I'm all messed up. They're right. It's unavoidable. This forum, that's what it is. This forum invites that. But I'm hoping that there's a level of reciprocity in it, that it's, with a lot of these kind of parasocial relationships, you have this where it's somebody saying, oh, I'm the good friend with this person, and but that person doesn't know my name, and it's like, I don't know your actual name. That's true, but I know your tag, and I know who you are through the lens of that, and I am interested in knowing what is appropriate to know. So I'm truly grateful to have found you when I did. These streams never fail to make me think deeply, and that's a thing I can't get in a lot of places. I very much appreciate. Likewise, I appreciate the inputs. I mean, you and I have had some conversations where we disagreed, and I appreciate that. The perspectives, it's just, deep thought is not something that's well rewarded, and it doesn't necessarily need to be rewarded, but it certainly needs to be encouraged. And it's the whole reason for this gallery of thought is I just want to talk with intelligent people who speak intelligently, and truly, it's a place for me to sit there and go, maybe I'm wrong. And then you come up with this, and I say, well, I didn't consider it that way. I mean, we've done that before. I don't know if I considered that. Maybe I need to go back and reconsider my position. I'm fine with that. But no, I very much appreciate you more as much as it was serendipity. I'm very greatly appreciative for you coming in and talking with me and having these conversations and allowing us to kind of speak and think deeply and reevaluate. Again, I don't make these special. If there was no one here, it would just be me rambling randomly into a microphone that nobody would listen to, that I would come and listen back. It's you and bringing unique perspectives and other philosophies that make this a special place, that help to sharpen the steel. Let's see. It's again, it's, as I said, I'm not intelligent enough to always be the grindstone, and I'm not dumb enough to always be the blunted steel. But I am fortunate enough to realize that I have a place in both of those, and I hope that in this community I've found people who are equally that way. When I am blunted steel, they're happy to help me sharpen myself, and when I have a nugget of wisdom, the few and the small and few I have, that people might find utility enough to sharpen themselves on them. So, huge thank you for helping to sustain these conversations and these deeper thoughts. I will let everybody to their Christmas Eve, truly Christmas Eve. It is. I'm glad that I can give meaningful input. I don't consider myself to be very intelligent, a very intelligent mind, but I like to try and gain different perspectives on things. I think, again, I appreciate that you don't consider yourself that way, but I can say that your conversations make a very, very bold and different statement. I believe you're very intelligent, and I believe I will wager. I will make this wager. I don't know that I will that the conversations will go for that long. It'd be a very, very long time indeed for that to happen, but I would wager that you will be 10 times wiser and smarter than I am at this age by the time you reach it. I wager that will be the case, and I think that will be fantastic, and I hope that you will find an arena that is conducive to you sharing that knowledge to the next people, the next generation, the next whatever, and that they hopefully, fingers crossed, become 10 times what you afforded, and that continue again ad infinitum, that it continues on. As it, again, we don't have to continue, but it's just one of those things that I hope does. I hope that it has a bloom effect, maybe in having conversations like these, maybe eventually, I don't need the conversations or the channel to quote unquote blow up. I don't need that, but maybe somebody will watch something like this and they'll see how we engage, and we'll see how we talk and how we can disagree and how we can talk about contentious topics. I mean, we've talked about things that people say you shouldn't talk about: politics, religion, the Charlie Kirk shooting. We talked about all that kind of stuff, and it's like, we can talk about these things and we don't have to be at each other's throats, even if we disagree completely. It's okay. I don't know. I hope it gives way to more, even more. But no, it's completely. I can't begin to state how valuable it is to have other deep and critical thinkers and intelligent people. And I would argue that while I appreciate your perspective, and I appreciate that you don't see yourself that way, I would say that you have demonstrated otherwise. And as I've said before, I have no doubt your family is very proud of you, and well they should be. But I will let you to your Christmas Eve. I hope you do have a wonderful time and get to enjoy a fantastic Christmas with them. I hope you all, anybody who comes in and sees this after the fact, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas Eve, a wonderful Christmas, a good Yule, or Hanukkah, or Boxing Day if you decide you want to skip over Christmas and just go to Friday. But I hope you do. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. And I hope that this has been cathartic for some of you. And I know it certainly has been for me. But you please do all have a fantastic rest of your week. A restful and happy holiday. And we'll talk to you guys next time.